Hi, I'm Zibby Owens, the creator and host of the award-winning podcast that you're listening to right now. Thank you so much, called Moms Don't Have Time to Read Books. It is a daily podcast, 365 days a year, and each day we talk to an author about all of the things related to their career, their book, their life, and more in 30 minutes or less, because who has time? I am now an author myself, although I wasn't when I started this podcast, and you can get my new memoir, Bookends, a memoir of love, loss, and literature, wherever books are sold starting July 1st, and my children's book, Princess Charming. You can learn more about me at zibbyowens.com, but really you're here to learn more about the authors, and that is what we're going to do. Also, be sure to check out all the other podcasts in the Zcast Podcast Network. You can learn more at zcastnetwork.com and definitely check out those shows as well. Amelia Morris is the author of Wildcat, a novel. She's also the author of the blog Bon Appétempt, named after one of the 25 best blogs of the year by Time magazine, as well as the memoir by the same name. Her work has appeared in the Los Angeles Times, McSweeney's, The Millions, and USA Today. She's also the co-creator of the podcast Mom Rage. She lives in Los Angeles with her family. Welcome, Amelia. Thank you so much for coming on Moms Don't Have Time to Read Books to discuss Wildcat, a novel.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I have to say, I listened to your final episode of Mom Rage last night with Eden, who was on either my podcast or my IG Live during quarantine, something about her book.
Yeah.
That was really fun. It was very calming. I was listening to you guys reading poems, and I was like, this is so lovely. I should do this more often.
I know we went out with a bang with poetry.
Yeah. Wait, so if you don't mind, start with the podcast piece and the blog and everything, and then we'll get to how you ended up writing this book.
Sure. So the podcast was Eden's idea, and I was a little hesitant. We talk about it in the very first episode, which was like way back in 2018, I think. But just like, I don't know, Mom Rage. I didn't really want to have like a mom podcast. And just like, why am I cagey about this word mom and like mommy? And I just feel like it like throws you into this realm of domesticity that like people don't take you seriously. But anyway, I didn't have a lot going on at the time. So I was like, okay, let's do it. And it was a really good experience. The pandemic kind of ruined it and like our workflow, and Eden had a third baby, but it was really great. I mean, I learned so much. Like, we interviewed so many people. I read so many books that I wouldn't have read. It was really good.
Amazing. And then tell me also about starting your blog and how that ended up becoming a book too.
So Bon Appétempt, my food blog.
Yeah.
Okay. So that we got to go back to like, was it 2007? I was in grad school.
Wait, you know what? Let's go back to the beginning. Where were you? Give me like some context. Where did you grow up? Were you always into all this writing, food stuff? Like where did you come from? The whole thing.
Sure. I was a baby.
Okay.
It's a small child. Okay. I grew up in like rural Pennsylvania. Slowly discovered I wanted to be a writer kind of in college. I accidentally went to a school with like a really good writing program. And so, was trying to be a writer, not getting anything published, got into an MFA program, UNC Wilmington. And I guess it was like 25 or 26. And, it's funny looking back, but like feeling like a failure because I couldn't get anything published, and started cooking because I was hungry for real food. Like, I don't know if you went through the phase in your 20s where like I was just like eating like frozen Amy's pizzas for every meal.
I was eating frozen yogurt, but yes. Okay.
Like none of my meals were real, And so I was just like, so I started cooking, and I think I was just like frustrated with the way that our world is obsessed with results and like the shiny finished product. And so I just got the idea to do a food blog. It was like everyone was blogging. So Bon Appétempt was born with this idea that like every post would be the like food magazine's version and then my version. And I think it started, I tried to make this like layered cake that was on the cover of Bon Appétempt, and mine had toppled over, and Matt my husband I don't know if he was my husband. Yeah, I think he was my husband at the time. But anyway, he took all these pictures. We had all these funny pictures of this like layer cake that toppled over on like Christmas Day.
Oh.
But it was funny. Like I wasn't invested in being a good cook, so I could like have fun with it. And in a way I couldn't with writing, where like I wanted to be a good writer. Like my identity wasn't like wrapped up in it. So then that's okay. Now I'm like, I haven't thought about this in a while. That's how it all started. That was the first post. It was like Bon Appétempt's perfect version and my like fallen over layer cake.
All right. So then when did you turn that into a book?
Okay. So I did it for a few years before it gained any traction. It kind of slowly started gaining traction. And at the same time, I graduated from my MFA program with a novel. That was my thesis. And so the novel is growing, and I'm also trying to get an agent for this novel that I wrote. And, I got like a few people that were sort of interested, but nobody wanted to be my agent. And then I finally got a response from an agent who didn't want to represent the novel, but was like, I like your food blog. What about a food memoir? Because, it was like Molly Weisenberg and Louisa Weiss, they had done like the food blog to memoir path. And so I was just like, so like stoked to have anyone recognize me that I was just like, okay, let's do the food memoir. So event, I made a book proposal, and then eventually, is that what you did with yours? Did you do a book proposal?
I've done so many book proposals for my memoir. It's like embarrassing.
Yeah,
I could publish a 500-page book of book proposals that I have written.
Yeah, it was a really long process.
I'm going to just write let me try it as a book proposal. Let me see how this, I have like books about podcasting. I have like all these different proposals, but I don't know. Yes. So basically, yes, that's how it started.
Yeah. Yeah. So eventually the proposal was finished and somebody bought it.
Great.
Yeah. Yeah. But the novel, it lives on my computer somewhere.
With everyone else's first novel.
Yeah, totally.
Okay. So then this became your first published novel, right? No.
So
did I get it wrong?
So this is the timeline. So my MFA thesis is nothing, but it did lead to my food memoir, which is Bon Appétempt.
Yep.
And then Wildcat, it kind of plays, there's like some auto fiction elements. So like the main character, Leanne, is coming out with a food memoir.
Mm-hmm.
So does that make sense?
Yes. Got it.
Yeah.
Amazing. So then do you feel this like huge sense now of like relief that it's out or not?
I feel like, so you're in the run up to your first book coming out. Yeah.
My first, yes. I have a children's book that just came out, which is like an entirely different audience. And then I tried doing these 2 anthologies. So at least I've like gone through the process, but this is the first like pride and joy personal.
The most naked.
The most naked. Yes. I'm getting a little nervous about the whole thing, to be honest with you, but yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So I felt so much relief when it sold, because it took a while. Just, like I went through a big revision. It was just like a long process. And so when it sold, I definitely felt like a huge relief. Like, yeah. And then when it came out, it was just like more, it was great, but it's just like, I don't know. It's like a emotional trying process, I think.
Yeah. It's not easy to sell a book.
No.
It's like, I feel like I really need to write an article about this, because it's like all I'm talking about these days. But, when you don't have a book deal, like all you want, like my whole dream was just to get a book deal, right? Like it would be a book, somebody would recognize it. Like I would really be a real writer, a real author. Like, oh my gosh, I've wanted this for my whole entire life. And then it quickly becomes, okay, well, how many did it sell? And, how is it doing? And And then it's like, well, I've got to make it sell better, and I've got to make it this. And, it becomes very pressure filled, and outside metrics end up making so much of a difference. And it's so hard. It's just so hard.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's my experience, at least.
Yeah. The thing that I always think about that gives me some solace is like, there are so many good shows on all these different streaming networks. And it's like, it's just they're really, really, there's so many good books. There's so much good content.
Yes.
And I feel like you can barely get your friends to like watch the show you're watching, let alone the book you're reading.
You're
you
right.
know?
You're so right. That's such a good point. I know. And people have less and less time, right?
Totally.
And then they have less and less attention. So yeah, I feel like the first step was to sell everybody back on reading.
Yeah.
Like, let's go back to that. Let's just like go back to that as a category, and then it'll open up some more doors.
I know. People that don't, lots of people, they like only read on vacation, or I'm just like, well, how do you process the world? Like, I don't understand.
That's how I calm down. I mean, I can be so frantic, and then I can just sit here and like read part of your book, and I'm like, oh, okay, like my shoulders go down, It's like, I don't know, maybe other people are just better at self-regulation than I am.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
it's
depend
hard.
on like external books. So let's talk more about your book and how you came up with this whole plot for it. Tell me about the cats in your life. Like, what is going on with the scampering cats and all of the rest?
I actually don't have any cats. I'm slightly allergic, but that theme just kind of kept growing and growing. Like, so the origins of the book, I started writing it when I was pregnant with my second kid. He's now 6. So I had a lot of angst. I was in this huge fight with my mom. So I felt like so unsupported by like the world and personally. And I kind of just poured it all into this book, like kind of like, I don't know, all of my agita. I had this image I was writing towards this scene where like a mom is having a breakdown, but it's not like by herself. She's like, it's like a public breakdown.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like the big cat scene. I don't know if that gives anything away. I don't think so. But that was kind of the scene I was working toward. I wanted Leanne to, kind of like call bullshit on everything we put on moms. And I don't know if that makes sense.
So like with the mom stress, and I feel like it could go in 8 million directions. Like, is there an area that you are most plagued by? Is it the scheduling? Is it the just the constant neediness? Is it I'm going to just project. So you tell me, like,
Yeah. I think the hardest thing for me to deal with, oh God, there's so many things.
And you have 2 kids now, or?
Yeah, I have 2.
6 and what?
6 and 8.
Okay.
They're almost exactly 2 years apart.
Awesome.
As I have boys in January. That's what I do.
Okay.
I mean, I have so many things hit me, but I think it really revealed to me how much space I need. And I think like as a writer, like I already needed space to myself, but I just like, I needed space to think. I needed space just in general. Like I couldn't really, I remember getting really frustrated with like trying to get work done while they napped.
Mm-hmm.
And then like eventually deciding to like take that off and just be like, don't try and get anything done when they nap, and that helped a lot. But yeah, I need them out of the house. Like I need to be away from them in order to like give them my best self when they're here.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's just, I think you really have to know yourself. At least that's, I think the conclusion I've come to is like, I really need to like know myself so that I'm not thrown when I see somebody else doing something differently, or like, like I need to be secure in that, like I'm doing the best for my family. It may not look like other people's families, but I think that takes a while.
So then how did you deal with the pandemic when you had no space?
Oh my God. I thank Matt, my husband. I always say like, I'm somebody with like a lot of boundaries, and Matt has no boundaries. Like he just like lets the kids in a way that I can't. But point being, so Teddy's my oldest kid, and his first grade was almost entirely on Zoom. And I had like a breakdown at the beginning when I realized it was like September and it wasn't working. Like he needed to be monitored for the Zoom because he couldn't do it. And I, was trying to be there, but I couldn't do it because I was like, I kind of need 2 hours in the morning. That's like my time. And I had a total meltdown. And then Matt was just like, I'm going to do it. I'll sit in. And Matt like saved our lives.
That's amazing.
Yeah. He's really great. I mean, I really think that like, I don't know. I say Matt was the best decision of my life often.
That's great.
Yeah, he gets it.
There is no timetable for kids. There's no like, I'm going to let you chill out and I'll be back later when you're ready. But that would be nice.
Yeah.
I know. I'm so grateful for literally every single day of school when they go. I like today, I don't have a kid home. And I've said it like 20 times. I'm like, I don't have any kids home today. This is amazing. I mean, nice. I love them, blah, 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 blah. But
of course. Yeah. What's your youngest is how old?
7.
Okay.
So I have 7, 8, and then twins who are almost 15.
Wow.
So
teenagers.
Yeah.
Exciting.
Yeah. I'm already bracing myself for when these little guys are teenagers. I think that's going to be even more of a wild ride. So then when do you get your writing in now? Just while they're at school?
Yeah. They're both in school. And I have found that like really I'm happy with like 1 to 2 hours and a day, I feel like before kids, I was like 1,000 words a day, but I think that's kind of stupid now. Need to be more flexible and chill.
Awesome. Was your mom like flexible and chill with you?
Oh God. You asked about my mom.
Yeah. I want to know about this fight. What was going on?
Oh my God. She's a pediatrician. So she worked a lot and I didn't live with her for a lot of my childhood. I grew up with my dad and stepmom for a lot of it. So girlfriend wasn't really there. And I would not say she's chill. Would not. I think she's one of those people that like she's never done therapy. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
So she doesn't really know why she does the things she does. Mm-hmm. She just does them.
Got it.
And the fight, I mean, it's too like inside baseball, but a lot of it is around her being a Republican and just like cruelness, general cruelness.
Got it.
It's like a whole nother book.
All right. Well, I'm ready for that.
Yeah. Do you get along with your mom? Like not for the podcast?
Yes. No, I feel like many mother-daughter relationships, we have definitely had our challenges. Yeah. I'm not sure that we have the relationship that she wants us to have, but I'm happy with where we have ended up now.
Nice. Do you have at least one daughter, right?
I have 2 daughters and 2 sons.
Right. Does that like bleed into your relationship with them? Like your relationship with your mom?
Some things, no. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it did more when I was younger. I don't know. Now that I'm ancient, I feel like I have everything sort of where it needs to be emotionally. And so all I can do is be the type of mom I want to be to my kids, taking the good from what she's done and what I've seen and the good from my dad and all the rest. And, that's all we can do. It's like do our best,
Yeah, for sure.
Sometimes though, I find myself I'm like going so the opposite of something that I'm like, well, this is ridiculous. Do you know what I mean? Like it's almost as bad as, like to flip the switch so completely. It's like, I have to just ignore and like move on and make my own decisions. Do you feel like that?
Yeah, totally. I get it. I don't know. Right. I remember I wanted a girl, I ended up with 2 boys and now I just feel so grateful. I'm just like, I love that I got 2 boys. I'm like so glad.
Boys are so cute. Oh my gosh.
They're great.
I'm like, so what are you working on? I'm assuming you're not working about a memoir about your mom. What is in the pipeline now?
Well, yeah, I'm working on something that I do think it's like, my first book was a memoir. The second book has some autofiction. And I feel like this book that I'm working on is much less autofiction, but I would say that I'm like working out some mom stuff still. But yeah, I was really inspired by Normal People, as was everyone, maybe. I don't know. But I was like, I'm going to write Normal People fan fiction. And so that's kind of where this next project started out, just trying to like set up. Did you read Normal People?
Yeah. And I watched probably half of the show.
Oh, just half?
Yeah, I know. We never finished it. I know.
Oh my God.
I know. My husband like finished it without me, and then I just never went back, and I'm going to blame him.
Yeah. I watched it twice at least.
Oh my gosh.
So good. And then I like couple it in my mind with Fleabag. The second season of Fleabag. Did you watch? Oh, it's so good.
I know. I was supposed to watch it. I don't watch a lot of TV. I know. I mean, I know I have to.
You don't have to apologize. It's like people that apologize for not being on social media. I'm like, oh my God, like congratulations. But yeah, so I wanted to like set up this like intense longing, like this like couple that can't quite be together. So anyway, I'm enjoying it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That sounds great. Amazing.
Yeah.
All right. Well, what advice would you have for aspiring authors?
I listened to your episode with Chelsea Beaker. I really liked her episode of her advice was like 30 minutes, like use it. Because I feel like a lot of times when I only have 30 minutes, I'm like, it's not worth it. But I would say just be patient. Just like be patient with yourself. Like going back to that, my pre-motherhood self that wanted to write 1,000 words a day. Like that's totally one approach, but it's not the only approach.
Yep.
And having kids, I feel like I would go for weeks without even opening up my Word document. And like, that doesn't mean that it's dead. Like you just have to open up the Word document and you'll get there. Yeah. That's what I would say.
Love it. Amazing. Well, it was great getting to know you.
Thanks. You too.
Thanks for coming on. Thanks for discussing Wildcat. Love this little baby. Oh my gosh. So great. Thank you so much for all of your time.
Thank you. And good luck with your pre-pub stuff.
Thank you. Yes. Thanks. Appreciate it.
Cool.
All right.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Moms Don't Have Time to Read Books. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Zibby Owens and at Moms Don't Have Time to Read Books. Also sign up for my newsletter at zibbyowens.com and sign up for my virtual book club and meet lots of authors on Zoom every other week. Thanks so much to Steve and Ryan at Texture Sound for the sound editing. And thank you to Morning Moon Productions for providing this fantastic intro and outro music.